I'm so excited that you want to learn more about core knowledge language arts, but I have to preface it with this. CKLA is a different kind of program, but don't let that scare you. Dig into the materials and you will see how great the instruction is, built on the science of reading research and motivating students. Across the country, we have a nation of students that are underperforming. The grade 4 NAEP scores in the most recent administration show us that we basically haven't made any progress in the last 30 years. And right now, only about 36% of our students in 4th grade are actually considered proficient readers. And that's a problem. That's a problem for us across the country, and we have to do something to solve that. And that's why CKLA is so important for you to review, because it's built on the science of reading research that demonstrates what kids need to have to develop in proficient readers. So going back to the very beginning, let's just talk about the way that this whole program came into being. It was all about marrying this idea that students aren't proficient readers with what we know about the science of reading. And we know what works. We built this program to reflect that science of reading research to ensure that we could move the lever on proficiency with students across the nation. And we're seeing that lever move with students across the nation. All of a sudden, students are developing into more and more proficient readers because of this program. So you may be wondering what I'm talking about when I talk about the science of reading research. Well, there's this thing called Scarborough's robe, and it was developed by a researcher named Hollis Scarborough. And she wanted to put a visual image in the hands of parents so they could really understand all the elements that students need to have to develop into proficient readers. And it really is two things. It's all about language comprehension and it's all about word recognition. We call this the simple view of reading, but basically what it means is that students need lots of language and background knowledge and vocabulary to bring to text as they read them. And students need to understand how to unlock the code in the text. So we need to teach them how to decode words. And when you put these two things together, students develop as proficient readers, confident and capable and able to approach any text with the skills that they need. So let's talk really practically about how this helps you in the classroom. So based on that reading research, we really have two strands in our program in K2. One strand is called the knowledge strand and one strand is called the skills strand. The knowledge strand develops and builds that background knowledge and vocabulary through a series of read-alouds. And these read-alouds help students engage in deep information around a specific topic or domain. Those domains include things like plants and farms and US history and world history, just broad, diverse topics. The second strand is called the skills strand, and that strand helps kids develop as proficient readers, teaching them how to unlock the code of reading and then how to represent or write that code. So you'll see our program in these two strands, just like Scarborough's robe. In grades 3, 4, and 5, we bring those two strands together to help students then become increasingly strategic and increasingly fluent in their approach to text. You will definitely see the difference with your students when you bring this program into your classroom. Kids in the skills strand become really confident as they approach text because what we do with students is deliver the code instruction and have them practice, 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 practice. They really gain the confidence they need to have to help them generalize those skills. And when we deliver those read-alouds in that knowledge strand, kids get so excited. They feel like scientists and historians. They start to use the vocabulary. And what you see is kids talk about those topics at recess, at lunch. They take that information home, and parents are coming back and saying, "What are you teaching our students? They know more about ancient Rome than I ever knew." The motivation factor for students is just really, really amazing in this program. So you have program materials that you're going to review, and I want to talk to you about the core elements of the program and how to actually review them. The main components of the program are teacher guide, student activity book, and student reader. And you will have one of each for every single unit you teach. And so when you pick up those materials and start to review them, it's really important that you get a sense of what the unit or domain is about. So the first thing you'll want to do is go to the table of contents in your teacher guide. And in the table of contents, you'll be able to see what the unit is about, how we're teaching reading and writing and language within that unit, and it'll give you an overall sense of what's happening instructionally. The second thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to go to the student reader to look at how then the reading scaffolds and the kind of topics students are going to read. The table of contents will outline the chapters within that student reader, and you'll notice that at the end of the reader, there's almost always additional stories for students to engage with. Whether you need those stories for additional support with students that need it, or for students that just have extra time and want to explore the topics more. You'll also want to look at the student activity book because that outlines the kind of interaction students are having with the material. And we call those formative assessment opportunities. Every single activity page that a student engages with will give you information on how well the student is learning that material. So please look at all of those three things together as you're reviewing the program. I want to talk a little bit more about the teacher guide as you're looking through the teacher guide. So after you look at the table of contents, make sure you go in and look at every single lesson for every single day because they're all set up the same way. So in a daily lesson, you will see the primary focus of the lesson, and those primary focus objectives outline what students should know and be able to do by the end of that lesson. And we developed it this way to have really strong instructional focus, that teachers know what the end goal is and students know what the end goal is. Directly under the primary focus objectives, you will see the formative assessment opportunities for that particular lesson. And what that means is that gives you an opportunity as a teacher to understand what each student knows by the end of that lesson so that you can make immediate adjustments as needed. After you review the primary focus objectives and the formative assessment opportunities, then the lesson really begins. So dig into the lessons and see the activities that are there for students to engage in, how we actually bring that objective to life in the classroom. And throughout the lesson itself, you'll also notice in the sidebars of the teacher's manual that you will have both support and challenge activities in the moment designed to help you meet individual students' needs during the course of the instruction. You will also see in the sidebars what we call access supports. And these access supports are for your English language learners, allowing you to provide them opportunities to access that grade level content. So we've had many opportunities to talk with CKLA teachers who have used the program in the classroom, but we recently had the opportunity to sit down and talk with one of them. We want you to hear how it's changed her as a professional and changed her classroom.
Implementation of CKLA has changed me as a professional because it's given me the tools that I've needed to actually help kids read better, write better, have those language skills, and it's such a great tool to be able to read the background knowledge. Also, I can take science content, social studies content, and it's really integrated, and so I'm able to not just teach these skills in pockets, but actually apply them across the curriculum. I've definitely seen a depth of conversation, so students are talking more deeply about the content and trying to make real-world connections, and that definitely starts to impact their writing. So they have more to write about, and they have all these great connections, and so they want to write, and they're really interested in doing that. They're not afraid to jump into new text. They don't feel intimidated by it because I think everybody feels like they're on an even playing field. Everybody's learning new language, everybody's learning these new vocabulary words, and so I think they feel safe in being able to learn new things and read new texts that might be a little bit more challenging for them. I had a student that he was very shy. He didn't want to talk much in class. He didn't want to participate. Writing was a challenge for him, and within this year, we were in the human body unit, and he was all of a sudden our top participator, and he just latched on. He was using the language, he was writing about it, he was coming to me and telling me stories about how he was making connections at home, and so it was really exciting to see his growth in all areas and see how much his confidence grew already in the year.
I know you became a teacher because you wanted to change the lives of kids. And you've heard from one educator how this program has changed her as a professional and changed the lives of her students. So jump right in. We want to partner with you to take your literacy instruction to the next level.